practicing or just say just what you do? I have no idea.
Hey, Ward,
What's up?
I can give that in my book because I do my homework at work and I do it with Brandon Berry and he has a book. So like,
I already got new ones.
oh, you did?
Yeah, we ordered 10. We already
Let's
got the
say-
first 2 today, so she's good, and then our other place Brooks.
I was saying,
Plus a couple
oh
other
no,
books.
because Fede probably needs it.
Yeah, she was kind of losing her mind.
Which I forget that she lives with Octavius, so she could just talk to them.
Yeah.
Okay, here's Colton's book. He said he left mine somewhere, but I don't know where.
Probably the back. Yeah, it's usually in the back, below. It's by those big files there. No, over here on the other side. Yeah, down there. You see it? Over, left, 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 down.
Down,
Shelf,
there
there.
it is. Alright, cool.
Yep, yep.
Oh, I literally almost left there with my test.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Take all the L's in
English.
What? What? Huh? What'd you say? Or to take all the L's and repeat one. All the L's. All of them. Even in football games. Hey, ready for Spanish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go easy.
Okay, what's homework today? What is the head called? No, we get homework today. What is the head called?
The head. I am not.
Hey, please.
Huh?
Please.
What is
Okay.
the
Alrighty.
No, illegal.
Yeah, thank you.
Illegal.
Beth, I think it's gone today? Okay, yeah.
Illegal.
Alright, today, we're gonna intro a new topic before lunch here, and then, after lunch, I'll give you some time, if you need to finish up page 23, I'll give you some time today, cause I know some of you turned it in yesterday, but I'll make sure I hand it back, just to make sure that you're giving me everything that I need. I do wanna see the house, and if you have work on a separate sheet of paper, just staple it to that type of thing, but I do wanna see how you're coming up with it. I know some of you are very good with using that multiplication chart, which is awesome. Just make sure that you're showing me some like form of long division. Okay, so shouldn't just be using a calculator just to write down the answer. So I'll hand those back, even if you think you're done or not. Today at some point I'll be handing back some homework to you guys as you guys are kind of working today. Some old stuff like page 10 and page 19 stuff. So, but that one's due tomorrow. Make sense? Okay, or actually 2 days from now. Thursday, not Wednesday. So, okay, let's go through what our basic notes are today. Pretty straightforward. We only have a couple sections left. We'll be wrapping up the sections this week. I think we have section 1-7, which we'll do today and tomorrow. 1-8, which we'll do Thursday and Friday, and then we'll be done with the chapter. That means next week, like Monday, Tuesday, we do a quick review, where we work on a practice test. You'll get that practice test this week. But I'll give you a practice test maybe Thursday this week, and then we'll take our test next Wednesday in here. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, if we don't have school Wednesday, I think that might be, is it the 20th next Wednesday?
Yeah.
Next
I think we don't have school that day, so we'll take it Thursday, that type of thing. So, that way you get an extra kind of day to study. But I always like to do a 2-day review. I'll explain when you see your practice test. Usually the practice test is pretty straightforward, but we do like 1 page one day, the second page the second day. And that way you kind of understand this is what I want to see. We work on it in class together to make sure you get it wrapped up, and then you turn it in, that's your ticket for the test. That type of ththing. A lot of people turn it in early because they don't want to lose it. But we're on 1-7 today. We'll finish it up tomorrow. Basically this is finding the average the average. So we have a couple different topics that I want to discuss today, and they go really well with what we learned yesterday and last Friday. Main topics today. We need to talk about this, the central tendencies today. Central tendencies. Okay, now what I mean by central tendencies, there's three names for what I'm talking about today. There's mean, median, and mode. Okay. These are like the three central tendencies. This is a way of displaying data for things. And I want to make sure that we're comfortable with what these mean. Okay, so that's we're gonna talk about that, and then this will lead us into our main topic today, where we'll do a few examples before lunch. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. It's just the fact is we do need to know what we did yesterday, which is long divisions. So that's like a part of this. So that's why it's kind of it's important that we actually look at that. Okay, so does everyone understand what we're doing today? No new homework or anything like that today. You already have that page 23 that's due on Thursday. That's a couple days from now. So I'll give you a couple days because I know that takes time to do long division sometimes. Some people don't like that. So, alright, but let's talk about central tendencies today. Let's talk about the idea of displaying data, right? Data can be anything, right? It could be just a collection of information that you're finding from a certain project, or from sports. It could be scores for all I know. But data, you can display it in different ways, okay? And it can mean certain things for certain people. So one of the things I know that we'll talk about this year for you guys is we talk about the presidential election, how they do the voting system. That's one of our major topics. But it's how they display data. The news really tweaks things to show a certain outcome. And we're going to try to look beyond that. We're going to try to look at what they're actually telling you, that type of thing. So, but this is our main topic, right? How to display data. So one of the things is called central tendencies. The central tendencies is a big fancy word for looking at the middle of a set of data. So we're going to be looking at the middle for a set of information or data. And that's the idea. The middle number can tell you a lot. It can tell you quite a bit, actually. So that's the idea. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to create a couple different examples right now, and we're going to talk about what these three words mean with that data we make up. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to try to, for this first experiment, we're going to limit our numbers to be under the number 50. Under 50. Okay, so you can think of a number right now. So maybe you have a favorite number in your head, and I'm sorry if your favorite number is over 50, but for right now, pick a number that's your favorite number below 50. Okay, so let's go through the room.
29.
29, okay. Let's keep going. Even if it's been said, say it again.
52.
52.
It's over 50.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
it is.
Birthday.
25.
25, alright. That's good. Good way to flip it.
30.
30.
31.
31.
28.
28. Okay. I'm going to say the number 9. That's my favorite. Okay. Alright. So here's the idea. You're looking at a set of data here. The set is what? 6 numbers? 6 numbers long. They're in no particular order. If we want to put them in order, that will actually help us for the central tendency. So let's group this set of data from least to greatest. We always do that first. So what's the smallest number here? 9. Okay. So I'm going to put a little curly brace up front. 9, comma. What's the next smallest number? 25. Next number? 28. Yep. 29. 30. 31. Alright. And that's all the numbers, right? That's all 6. Okay, so what you did here, you're putting your set of information from least to greatest. Even if there's numbers that repeated, you just put all those numbers in there in order, and you can have the repeating numbers in there. This is what we call a roster method. It's a way of displaying data from least to greatest, showing all the different numbers that you have in your list. It's important. It's nice to see the small number, it's nice to see the big number, and actually have all the numbers in between in a particular order, so You're not like scanning this big list of numbers trying to find which one's the smallest, which one's the biggest. Typically I do that when I'm looking at a certain group of information. I like to put them least to greatest. And I'm not looking at any other factors, just least to greatest. Now, here's the idea. We're going to talk about, for this list, these three numbers, these three objects, okay? Because these three words mean a certain number, right? Okay, so we're going to start with the mean, and we're going to start with that first. We're going to try to find the mean of this group of numbers. Now, what the mean stands for, like the definition of it, is the average of the numbers. It is the average of your data. Okay, what I mean by average, like if you're averaging your scores in, let's say, bowling, what you do is you add up all the scores together, you divide by how many scores you actually had. Okay, so like in bowling, you'd bowl a bunch of times, and then you'd average your score together for how many games you played, that type of thing. So the average for us, we have to add these numbers together. So that's adding 9 plus 25 plus the 28. We'll use a calculator to do this here in a second. Plus 29 plus 30 plus 31, right? And then what are we going to divide by?
how many numbers?
Yeah, how many numbers are up? 6. We're going to divide that number by 6. Whatever that number turns out to be, we'll divide by 6. Okay? This will give us the average. This number is somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle. It's an average of what what most favorite number is in this class. Okay, it's the middle. So I'm going to use a calculator here, and let's add these together because I don't want to waste time by doing it by hand right now. So 9 plus 25 plus 28 plus 29 plus 30 plus 31. All right. Let's see, did I take them all right? 29, 30, 31. All right, good. All right, so it's 152. That's adding all those numbers together, right? And then what do we have to do after that?
Divide by 6.
Divide by 6. Okay, and I'm going to do that by hand, because that's the stuff we did yesterday, right? So 152 divided by 6, so this is good practice to kind of review how to do that. Okay, so 152 divided by 6. 6 goes into 15 twice, so that's a 12. That's probably as close as I can get. Subtracting straight down, I get a 3. Bring down the next number, which is a 2. Okay. 6 goes into 35 times without going over. 6 times 5 is 30. And you subtract, and you get a remainder of 2. So it's roughly it's a little bit over the number 25. It's not quite 26, got a little few remainders, but it's about 25. So that means the average favorite number in this room from 1 to 50 is somewhere in this ballpark. That's the idea. It's somewhere like right there. It's almost 25. Okay? In fact, I probably should put it on the bottom of the list, because those aren't written in order. It would be, let me get rid of this list here. It would be right here. That's where our favorite number in this room is. Now, does that seem a little weird to you? That the average is 25 point something? To me it does. Because a lot of you picked 28, 29, 30, 31. You guys picked a bunch of bigger numbers. Like, out of this class, out of 6 people in this room, 4 of you picked a number that was bigger than 25. Bigger than 25. Only 2 of us picked smaller. We picked 25 and 9. But the average favorite number in this room was low. Because, guess who threw it off? What threw off the data?
The 9.
The 9. My number did. I picked a number that was too small. If my number would have been, let's say 20, the average, the mean, would have been up here. It would have been, it shifts with what the lowest and the highest number is. So these weird outlier numbers, like 9, if I pick, let's say I picked the number 50, way down the road, then that would have shifted this mean number to according, it shifts with what the highest and lowest number is. It really moves towards that. Okay, so does this represent a really good value for the middle of our list? Probably not, because 4 people out of the 6 had a higher number than that. So the mean, the average, may not be the best middle number for our data. Okay? Because we're trying to find the middle. Okay? So that's mean. Does that make sense? What the mean is? It's like the average. That's what we're doing today. That's literally the concept we're doing. We're finding the average. You add numbers together, you divide by how many there are in the list. Okay, it's very easy. We do averages for everything, especially in sports. We do averages for everything. You know, I find the average of who's hitting well, who's passing well, you know, that type of thing. So, it's a big thing. It helps fit data so you can put a number to something and then you can make adjustments to it. Okay, so that's the mean. Now, let's talk about the second part. Okay, let's do the other word. So I need that data again. I'm gonna write down that same list. We got 9, 25, 28, 29, 30, 31. Is that the list? Okay, alright. The next word I want to talk about is the median. The median is the number in the middle. What I mean by the middle number, if you had a list of numbers and you put them least to greatest, I want the number that is right in the middle of your list. So, now here's the problem. We have 6 numbers, right? There's not an odd number. If there's an odd number, then you would have a perfect middle number out of the whole list. There'd be like a number that sits in the middle, right? Because look at this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the middle number is like in here, right? So what is the middle of 28 and 29?
28.5.
Exactly, that's your median. It's a number that's in between if you have an even number, 28.5. That's the median. To me, in this list of this room, that number makes more sense for picking a middle number. Because that's like for 4 of you, you picked numbers that were bigger than 25. So the mean didn't make any sense picking a 25 point something. But for you guys, the 28.5 makes more sense for a middle, for us anyway. So, and I don't care if the list is, 41 numbers long, 41 numbers. You're gonna find the middle number out of 41. So the number right around 21-ish. You're gonna find that number. Okay, so that is a median. It's literally the middle. Because median, if you think about like what a median means in like a road system, it's the middle divider in the middle of a road. That's a median. Well, that's kind of the middle number in math, right? It's the middle. All right, next number, the mode. Now for ours, I'm just gonna put the mode over here because I don't need to write the list again. The mode is a little bit goofy. How I remember the word mode, it's spelled like the word most. What number happens the most in our list? Was there a number that repeated? No, so we don't have a mode. So in our case, the mode does not exist. Does not exist for us. Okay, and mode is if we had a big list of numbers and a certain number repeated a bunch of times, that's the mode number. That's how voting works, right? When you think about like voting for president, they look at who did you vote for the most. They're looking for the mode. That may not be the median or mean. That may not be where everyone wants to be. It's just there was more votes for this candidate. So they just look at that number. It may not be the middle of the group. Okay, because there could be a bunch of votes for somebody on the very outside. That's that type of thing. Okay, because if let me put it for instance. Let's say you guys were having to pick numbers that were like between 1 and 10. Or let's say 1 through 100, and a bunch of you picked these numbers. No, and I didn't stop. I mean, these are the numbers that we picked in this class. But then let's say we had a couple more people in this room, and the other couple of people picked this. And we're trying to find the average favorite number of this room. Well, the average favorite number to me is like somewhere down here. Now it's somewhere right around there because a lot of people in this room picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the mode would say that this is the favorite number of the room. The one that happened the most. The 100 happened the most. But that doesn't go with the group. Only 2 people said 100. So that's the idea. Alright, is there any questions?
So would there be like some rules like the mode that there's no numbers that match up?
Yeah.
Are the same?
So that's the idea. Like you could have a mode and there are a bunch of numbers that match, but it may not be the same as the mean or the median. So yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. So these are all 3 different numbers. They literally are. You can see them, they're all different. Sometimes they're the same when you have a very perfect list of numbers, but The idea is that these all mean something different. What we're trying to focus on today is this one. Find the mean, the average of numbers. So we add. Okay? Alright, let's make a new list of numbers here. Okay, we'll make a new list. Alright, now what I want is that you can pick any number through 100, and I want you to think of 3 numbers now. 3 numbers, 3 random numbers. I don't care if somebody else repeats your number. 3 numbers, you have them in your head. 1 through 100. So we're only picking whole numbers. You can even pick 0 if you want to. 0 through 100. Okay, you got 3 numbers in your head? 3 numbers. Say it again?
40, 50, 60.
40, 50, 60. Okay. Okay, 3 numbers, please.
13, 52, 88.
Okay. Okay, 3 numbers, please.
30, 45, and 77.
77. Okay. 3 numbers, please.
6,
6.
6, 6.
666. Okay. So now I want to think of numbers, but I'll go with it. I like it.
28,
28.
That's probably why you did it.
56,
56.
98.
98. 98, there we go. And the numbers I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the number 23, the number 9, and the number 32. Those are going to be my numbers. Okay, so we have a big list of numbers here, right? Way bigger than normal. We need to put these in order before we start. Okay, so in order, least to greatest. So what would be the smallest number up here? 6s, we have a bunch, that's fine. So we have 6s a couple times. Okay, okay, that's fine. We'll keep going here. Next smallest number is probably my 9 over there. Okay, then we got some other numbers. 13.
23.
23 over there. 23. I see a 30. Oh, actually, we have a 28. 28 there. We have a 30. Got any other 30s? No. We have 30. We have a 32 over there. That's my numbers. Let's see. We have 30, 32,
40,
40,
45,
45. We have 50,
56,
52, 56. Let's see,
60.
56, 60, 77,
98.
88,
Oh, 88.
88, and 90, 98. Okay, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people over? Yeah. Okay, so that's all of our numbers, least to greatest. Okay, so now, is there a mode to this list?
6.
6. So that would be, so if we're looking for the favorite number of the room out of 100, right now the mode would be telling you that the favorite number of the room is now the number 6, which is goofy, but it's fine. It happened the most, right? The mean is tough. You have to add all these numbers up and divide by how many there are. Okay? We're going to do that when we get back from lunch. All right, let's go to lunch. We'll continue when we get back.
Not my club, aren't you? Guess what? The one?
Yeah.
Okay. Those are the ones. Unless if you're like a pre-alpha beta tester, like I can't before anyone.
When does Battlefield come out anyway?
Next month.
And Mr. Ward,
Yes, sir.
you a Battlefield or COD player?
Battlefield.
And I tried Battlefield.
I like the open battlefield. I don't like Call of Duty, it's too close.
I don't know.
Oh, how dare you? What is that called?
Oh,
Okay.
snap.
Alright. Let's discuss our problem that we're on right now. Alright. So we talked about, before we were going to lunch, we talked about, putting those numbers least to greatest. We talked about what the mode is. Mode is the number that happens the most, right? That's MO, so most mode. That's how it works. So that was the 6 in this case. Then it may not be the best, average number of that whole list, the middle number for the whole list of our favorites. but it's the one that happened the most, so that still has a pull. And what we talked about before lunch was like, on presidential elections, that's what we rate. That's like what's important, right? That the number that happens the most is what we actually count, right? Alright, now mean, what we talked about before lunch. Mean is where you average all of these numbers together. So that means you have to add them, and then divide by how many numbers are in the list. Now, there were 6 of us in the room at the time, so 6 times 3, there should be 18 numbers up here on the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So there's 18 numbers there, right? So we have to add each of those, all those numbers together and divide by 18. Okay, so I'm gonna do that right now just so we can see what that number is. So on the calculator, we got 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 9 plus 13 plus 23 plus 28 plus 30 plus 32 plus 40 plus 45 plus 50 plus 52 plus 56 plus 60 plus 77 plus 88 plus 98. Alright, that's 719. 719, and then we have to divide by 18. Okay? Is that 719? Alright, so, off to the side, if this is our problem and we have 18 here, 18 can go into 71, let's see, if I do 4, what's 4 times 18? That's a 2, carry a 3, that's 72, too high, so it's gotta be 3. So 3 times that, 3 is 4, carry a 2, that's 54, so yeah, so we'll have to go with 3. So it's 54, and when I subtract, this number should be less than 18 if I do this correctly. So, borrow, that's a 6, that's an 11, 11 minus 4 is 7, 6 minus 5 is 1, so we're just less than 18. Bring down the next number, which is a 9, and now we gotta go 179, so let's see, if I do 10, that's 180, so it'll be 9 times. So 9 times that is 72, carry a 7, that's a 9 plus 2 is 162. So 162, subtracting straight down, that's a 7, that's a 1, so a remainder of 17. So it's 39 is roughly the mean number. So roughly 39 and change. And that would be right around here, right? This is where the mean would be putting us. The mode put us back here. This is the mode. Okay, so now for right now, does this make sense for how we're finding the mean, median, mode so far? Mean is the average of the numbers. Mode is the one that happens the most. So far, when I look at this, I think the mean so far is the best number, just for us. Just because of where that number falls, it's kind of in the middle. But there's a couple high numbers, there's a couple low numbers. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to look at the median number. The median number is the number that's directly in the middle, okay, of our list. So the median number is we have to look at all the numbers back to back to back, and then you find where the middle of the list is. So literally the middle of the list. So if there's 18 numbers, I gotta go about 9 in. Since it's even, it'll be between 9 and 10. That's the idea. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the median number is right in here, because there's 9 numbers back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. So the median number, which I'll put in green here, is the number directly in between 32 and 40. It's the number that falls right in here. The number between 32 and 40, what is that, 36? That's the number perfectly in the middle of that list. That's the number between 30 and 40, or 32 and 40, would be 36 perfectly. That's the median number. Number that falls perfectly in the middle of them. Now, to me, these are almost identical. They make no difference for this list of numbers. So it's either one that you choose. I would say probably pick the higher one because we have a lot of upper numbers. But it's kind of a free-for-all really. Now, the goal here today was to learn this number, the mean, the average, how you add and you divide. We're going to be looking at that more on, Wednesday, tomorrow? Okay, is there any questions with the 3 different words we've talked about? Okay, today, you need to work on that homework assignment that I gave you earlier, that was yesterday, that was page 23. That is due on Thursday. I'm gonna go through the list of who's turned it in. I'll hand it back to you one more time so you can take a look to see if you finished it. But remember, this homework that you had yesterday is due Thursday this week. That's a couple days from now, because it is only Tuesday. What is that page? It is page what, 23? So page 23, numbers 1 through 15. So I'm gonna go through the list of who's actually turned it in. I'll hand it back to you just so you can take a look at it one more time to see if you're comfortable with it. If you think your answers are correct, you've shown me all the work and stuff, then you can turn it back in. So let's see. So Jason, here you go. Here's our list. Take a look at it one more time. Make sure you got everything on there. Alex, take a look at it one more time. Make sure everything's on there. And I think Elizabeth, but she's in here. So. Okay, so if you're comfortable, you can turn it back in, just put it back in the basket. I just want to make sure you looked it over one more time. Hopefully you're using that multiplication chart. Okay, that was the chart to help you out. Okay, we'll continue this stuff tomorrow. Okay, that's fine. Just want to make sure I give you an equal opportunity to do it. Alright, let's see. They have a test next Wednesday, Thursday. In this room. They'll get a practice test this week, Thursday, and then we'll review it Monday, Tuesday, next week. We do a 2-day review. Because we should finish 1-8 on Friday this week, so we should be fine. So, let's see what else. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. Yeah. Okay. Send those in. And the only reason I said test is Wednesday, Thursday, because I think Wednesday we don't have school next week. I think it's the 20th. I think we have a PD all day, so they'll take it Thursday. So, okay. I'll take it, thanks. So Jason, if you feel good about those, then you can always put it back in there. I haven't graded it yet, so. Okay, fair enough. Already done.
He plays that like most.
Like Knowles tonight, yep.